Voting of additional members is officially underway at the second leg of the ANC Gauteng's 14th provincial conference in Boksburg. The conference concluded proceedings late last night with delegates discussing commissions which need to be agreed upon before heading to the mother body's policy conference later this month. Newzroom Afrika's Mbali Thethani is standing by with the new chairperson of Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi. It's over to you, Mbali.
That's right, Dudu. We are coming to you from the second leg of the ANC Gauteng's conference here in Boksburg. And you would remember that much of yesterday was spent really talking about the issues around those quarantine votes from Ekurhuleni. We know that the leaders here in Gauteng had to then go into a steering committee session to talk about what way forward they should find pertaining to those 5 branches and those 19 quarantine votes. We know that some of the delegates here wanted those votes to be opened, while others wanted it to be closed. And you would know, Dudu, that the implications of opening those quarantine votes were quite severe, especially because it would have a major impact when it comes to the regional conference that took place in Ekurhuleni and as well as the top 5. But we now know that the decision from that committee last night was that they will remain closed. But of course, we now know that officially voting was expected to take place yesterday for the PEC members, but that voting process only started this morning. But just to give us an update, to find ourselves where we're at right now, we are joined by the newly elected Gauteng chairperson. He has been chairperson now for at least 2 weeks, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi. Perhaps let's start here. Yesterday, the issue around quarantine votes, which 2 weeks ago was something that this conference dealt with, it then came again yesterday, and this is something that you still needed to deal with even further. Where are we now when it comes to the quarantine votes from the Ekurhuleni branches?
Well, it's a demonstration that the ANC is a transparent and democratic organization that will not suppress people's views or delegates' views. If they want to raise a matter, they raise the matter. We gave them an opportunity to ventilate their views. They did that, and we had to break so that we accommodate their views. I think it will be a miscarriage of justice if your own delegates that you invited raise a matter and then you exclude them. So we gave it to the steering committee, and the steering committee provided guidance and clarity, and the entire wall unanimously adopted that let's separate the regional conference of Ekurhuleni from the provincial conference. This is a provincial conference of the ANC in Gauteng, and the NEC will assist us to conclude and finalize matters related to the Ekurhuleni conference. And on that basis, conference agreed, and we proceeded to deal with commissions and policy documents. And this morning, we are on the final stretch of voting. Hopefully, by the end of the day, we'll have the results in a position to also share our resolutions with South Africans.
Mr. Lesufi, this issue around quarantine votes continues to creep its way. First it was an issue that was dealt with the NEC. The NEC took it back to you. You are now saying that this should be a matter that should be dealt on a regional level. When it comes to, the ramifications of these quarantine votes, how does it affect this conference, and how does it affect the regional conference in which we saw in Ekurhuleni?
Well, the steering committee, which consists of NEC members and the office bearers, as well as regional secretaries, clarified it, that it doesn't affect this conference. Obviously, going forward, when the region of Ekurhuleni must resolve the matter, it might need political maturity and political leadership. We now feel that we need a political solution. We need to avoid the technical part of it, of which branches qualified, which branches didn't qualify. Reality is that we are leaderless in Ekurhuleni for almost a month or so. Reality is that in council, there is an opportunity to take that municipality back. We can't, because we are still dealing with this matter. And reality is that the coalition government in that particular region is going through difficulties. So we need to find ourselves and quickly rescue the people of Ekurhuleni. So I'm quite convinced a political solution will be found when the incoming PEC deal with this matter. And when they attend to it, we'll share it with our leadership in Ekurhuleni.
When you look at the progress of this conference, we were supposed to be dealing with the issue around voting of PEC members yesterday, and of course another major delay. These delays we saw just 2 weeks ago as well at the Lakeside Hotel. Are you satisfied with, where conference finds itself at the moment?
I'm satisfied that we live here with no one that said I was suppressed. I will be satisfied to live here with no one says my views were not taken into consideration. I'll be happy that everything that we needed to do, we attended to it. Remember, when conference started, people felt that there will be blood on the floor in terms of leadership preferences. And when we suspended conference or adjourned conference, people thought that that's the end, we will not come back. So we're here, we started conference, we're going to conclude conference, and I'm happy. There will be delays because everyone has the right to express a view and everyone has the right to deposit their ideas. So we need to give them that opportunity, honestly. And if giving them that opportunity means conference have to extend by a few hours, let it be.
What else can we expect in terms of your program for the rest of today? I know that you are meant to announce your additional members. When is the program most likely to start? Because right now in plenary it seems as if the proceedings have not started yet.
To me, what excites me is where are we taking Gauteng? We've got 19 months to recover and prepare this movement to confront what people say is going to be a tough elections in 2024. So what excites me is to hear the views of our branches, how they want us to reposition the ANC. But also what excites me is what are we taking to the National Policy Conference of the ANC at the end of the year. So we'll also receive those kind of reports. But there are three critical areas that we must not lose focus. One obviously is the high level of lawlessness. We are quite aware that we woke up this morning with the death of almost 15 people. Demonstrate lawlessness. It demonstrates our communities are not protected, defended, and that people can do as they wish. And secondly, which is very crucial, is the energy challenge that we find ourselves in, including the cost of living in terms of fuel, food prices, municipal bills, that we need to respond that. Thirdly, which to me is an important thing, do we have a state that is capable and have the capacity to deliver services to our people, or are we relying on third-party institutions to deliver services to our people? But if you can't have a state that is capable, then we must forget. So on the basis of those three expectations from my side, I really believe conference must pronounce itself on all those issues.
Earlier on, and something that you also touched on, the tragedy which we find ourselves at the Tavern where 15 people died. We also know that on Friday 2 more people were killed in Katlehong. Speaking to the Premier a bit earlier on, he says that you alongside with other MECs will be making your way there a bit later on today. Just your reaction in terms of what we have seen in Soweto this morning.
Firstly, let's extend our sincerest condolences to the families and relatives of the deceased and wish those that are in hospital a speedy recovery. As I've earlier indicated, you can't have this level of lawlessness, honestly, when people are having their own nice time. Someone just thinks that those people deserve to die. But what pains some of us is that those people can just vanish in darkness with the hope that they're not going to be tracked, because they know the law enforcement agencies either they're not capable or they're not there to track them. So we call upon all those that have been given this task to protect our people, that we must leave no stone unturned to track these perpetrators. And we must know the reasons why people will behave in this barbaric fashion. Indeed, I'll be joining the Premier of our province as well as the MEC for Safety as well as the MEC for Health to visit some of those that are still in hospital and also to gather further information so that we can be in a position to respond appropriately as a province and as a provincial government.
Thank you very much. Of course, to do that is Panyaza Lesufi, the ANC chairperson in Gauteng, just touching on various issues when it comes to what we dealt with a bit earlier on, being those quarantine votes. And as you heard from him, the steering committee deciding that they will remain as closed. And of course, we're officially now seeing the voting get underway. We know that they started with some of the leagues as well as the former PEC members, the likes of Panyaza, as well as David Makura. They've already voted, but now we know that branches will now be called in, according to the regions and their branches, they will officially now be called in to begin the process of voting for those 40 additional members who will then form part of the PEC. Also touching on that issue, being the Tavern shooting there in Orlando, where at least 15 people now have passed away. Of course, saying that it is lawlessness and something that this province needs to deal with.
Indeed. As they conclude their business of the day there, they also indicate that they will be visiting those who have been impacted in hospital, who are in critical conditions. And Newzroom Afrika will continue to bring you developments around the mass shooting in Soweto, where Mbali Thethani rightfully mentioned 15 people killed. We're also in Sweet Waters in KwaZulu-Natal, Pietermaritzburg to be specific, where 4 people were killed at a tavern there as well. Linda Mnisi keeping an eye on developments there for us.